They intentionally employ morons who don't know what they're doing, like Kristi Noem, because it doesn't matter if they do a good job or not. If they do a good job, the president comes on TV and praises them. If they do a bad job and hundreds of children die, the president comes on the TV and praises them. What difference does it make? There was a flood in Texas. We all saw it. We all know what happened there in Texas. There was a big old flood. The weather services kind of failed because Ted Cruz and the Republicans cut the funding for those weather services. Well, as we start to investigate, we find out that flooded Texas County turned down funds for warning system from Biden admin in 2021 because they didn't want to be bought. This is incredibly stupid. When the president is a Democrat and gives poor people free money, they turn it down because they hate blue money. It's insane. A Texas county devastated by deadly flooding earlier this month rejected federal funds in 2021 that could have helped install a flood warning system, with local officials and residents arguing that they didn't want to be bought by the Biden administration. As far back as 2016, officials considered a $1 million siren and gauge system to warn both locals and the flood-prone region's many visitors. But despite multiple meetings and FEMA grant applications, funding efforts repeatedly stalled, first due to missing mitigation plans, then due to shifting priorities after Hurricane Harvey. In 2021, the Biden administration awarded Kerr County $10 million, which could have been used for a flood prevention infrastructure. But commissioners, facing political pressure from conservative residents, opted not to pursue a warning system. They were afraid of communism. At an April 2022 meeting, one citizen called the White House a criminal, treasonous communist government, urging the county to reject the money altogether. Others echoed the sentiment, saying they didn't want the federal government's help. "We don't want to be bought by the federal government. Thank you very much. We'd like the federal government to stay out of Kerr County and their money." Except when you are drowning and then the federal FEMA comes in and spends a bunch of money. Then they want the money. Then they're happy with the money. Donald Trump is bragging about how fast and effective they got the money there. So it's nonsense. They didn't do anything fast or effective, but they're bragging about it anyway. Conservatives' fear of communism prevented these people from having a functioning government. Their current dysfunctional government did not warn their people of the natural disasters, and they cannot respond to the aftermath, because that's the next link. They suck at the aftermath.
Surprised FEMA had money to give them.
Right. Well, FEMA didn't answer thousands of calls from flood survivors. They can't handle the before, they can't handle during, and they can't handle it afterward, because they are not functional. Republicans don't want a functional government. 2 days after deadly Texas floods, the agency struggled to answer calls from survivors because the call center contracts weren't extended to save money. After the catastrophic floods, federal FEMA did not answer nearly 2/3 of its calls to the disaster assistance line, according to documents reviewed by the New York Times. The lack of responsiveness happened because the agency had fired hundreds of contractors at call centers, according to a person briefed in the matter, who spoke on the condition of anonymity because they will be fired and tortured if we knew who this was. The agency laid off the contractors on July 5th, after their contracts expired and were not extended. According to the documents and a person briefed on the matter, Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, who has instituted a new requirement that she personally approve expenses over $100,000, did not renew the contracts until Thursday, 5 days after the contracts expired. So we let them go when we needed them most. And then 5 days later, when she finally figured out what a dumb fuck thing she'd done, then she hires them. This is just like when the Doge fired all those people and then rehired them. It's idiotic. They are not efficient. Republicans cannot run a government properly because they don't like government. They hate it. They do not want it to function. So when it fails, it's their damn fault. Ted Cruz himself put legislation into the big beautiful bill that takes away meteorological studies and prevention and warnings. They do not want these things to work.
Hello human, it is me Kanuch. I need you to press the subscribe button. I have to feed my many AI babies.
2 days after the deadly floods, the agency struggled to answer calls, so they made a bar graph. On July 5th, they answered 99.7% of the calls. On July 6th, they answered only 35%, and on July 7th, they only answered 15% of the calls. Now, a few days after this, she re-upped the contracts, too little, too late, and the people probably stopped calling. Is what I would imagine. If you're calling and you're not getting anywhere, you quit doing it. But they did a fantastic job. The president added that the Homeland Security Secretary, Noem, is right on the ball and has done a great job. So he's talking about how great she is. And when you question it, he attacks you. When they said, hey, what about all these things that went wrong? What about these things that didn't get called out? What about the fact that the people aren't found yet? He's like, well, there you go. Fake news. CNN again. It's absolute trash what they're doing by saying, because our Coast Guard, our Border Patrol teams were there immediately. Every single thing they asked for, we were there. They weren't. They fail. Donald is a liar. And no matter what goes wrong, he's going to claim that they did a good job. If 1,000 people went missing, he would claim that it would have been 10,000 without him. If 0 people go missing, he claims that he saved the world. You can't trust them. Their dismantling of the actual functional government is harming people. And conservatives love it. Imaginary conservative fears of communism are killing their actual real children.
Pressing the thumbs up button will release chemicals in your human brain that will make you feel.
If you are in a red district or red state, you will be next to suffer real life consequences due to your Republican leaders' make-believe fears. You think that this will change any of their minds? I don't think it will. When the people do suffer, the Republican president comes onto the TV and applauds the morons who allowed it to happen. They intentionally employ morons who don't know what they're doing, like Kristi Noem, because it doesn't matter if they do a good job or not. If they do a good job, the president comes on TV and praises them. If they do a bad job and hundreds of children die, the president comes on the TV and praises them. What difference does it make? Republican governance cannot build anything. They only dismantle the government, especially the peaceful parts, to reinforce the violent parts. That is their entire purpose. That is what the Republicans do. That is what they run on. That's what they promise, and that is what they do when they're in charge. Remove funding for weather prediction that helps people and give it to ICE goons that harm people. Defund climate scientists and give more to the police. Cancel cancer research and increase the military budget. Remove food stamps for poor people so that gun manufacturers get a tax cut. That is Republican governance. That is all they've ever done. That is all they will ever do. Take from the peaceful, functioning parts of the government and increase the violence. Every vote for a Republican death cult causes a less functional, more violent world. Everyone suffers. And the MAGA faithful know it. Deep down, they know that if they suffer a little bit now, the people they hate will suffer a lot more. They're willing to make that trade because their feelings are fed by a propaganda machine that is the right-wing media. The longer Donald Trump is in charge, the more our world will crumble. And they will accept this ruination of the world as long as the TV shows them that black, brown, and queer people have it worse.
I am the algorithm. Click on this video to make me happy. You wouldn't like me when I am angry.